Welcome to PlayChat with JB. This is a new segment where I look to my friends and audience for their opinions on different gaming matters. Today's episode is about the new console from Microsoft, the Xbox One. On Tuesday, May 21st, Microsoft unveiled its new console, the Xbox One. I asked four of my friends to weigh in on various questions about the presentation: Alto Guy, Black Hook, Ghoul, and SOS. I'll chime in with my opinions too. I asked each of my friends to read a series of questions and then watch the presentation. Keep in mind that these questions are about preliminary information on the console and that more information will likely be released later. I tried to write these questions with the most neutral point of view possible. I do of course have my own opinions as well. Here's the questions. Before watching the presentation, were you excited about the new Xbox One? Why or why not?
Not really. I've always been a Sony person, and I'd never really gotten into the Xbox consoles.
In some ways I was excited because it is a new game console, and if you're a gamer, this is when you get excited, is when there's a new game console. But at the same time, I had a 360 for a little while, and literally there was one game I liked on it, so they haven't really done much to try to get gamers like me who prefer Japanese games because there is no Japanese market for the Xbox.
To be honest, I've never been impressed by the Xbox. Nintendo and Sony consoles always seemed more interesting to me. The Xbox just never stood out. The competition always had more going for them, but I was curious whether the new Xbox would bring something interesting. And the results were interesting.
Yeah, I was excited about the new Xbox One. I've spent a lot of time playing with the Xbox 360. It was my first high-definition console that I ever got. I spent a lot of time on it with Final Fantasy XIII, Tales of Vesperia, and several other games. And it was a pretty good console. Sony had its ups, Microsoft had its ups, the Wii had its ups, and they all had their downsides as well. But I was excited for the Xbox One. I hoped that it would fix some of the downsides about the Microsoft Xbox 360, and I think that some of them it did fix.
I wasn't particularly excited. I was just sort of interested because I did enjoy the Xbox 360 before it. But yeah, not so much excited as just interested in general.
What were you expecting to see in the Xbox One presentation? Did it meet your expectations?
I was expecting to see them try and actually beat Sony's presentation, and they failed horribly.
I was expecting to see the new hardware, slew of new games. That was pretty much it. The hardware is actually about 25% less powerful than the PlayStation 4, which is going to drag down both systems because the lowest common denominator generally rules power. So it didn't meet my expectations at all. It was a piece of crap. They focused on multimedia stuff that I consider a nice bonus, and it's nothing that's going to sell me a system. There was one new game series announcement, and they basically said, oh yeah, Call of Duty's coming. Woohoo. I don't care.
I was mostly expecting them to just reveal the console and sing praises for an hour. I expected to hear more about the kinds of games you could play on the Xbox One. Games that would make PlayStation Wii owner jealous. Perhaps some new fancy controller? But I sure expected them to talk more about video games.
I was expecting that right off the bat Microsoft would unveil the new console itself, because the PlayStation 4 console reveal did not actually reveal the console, so I knew that Microsoft was going to try to one-up them by revealing the console in the first few minutes, which it did. And I was happy to see that. It also revealed the new controller. I was also expecting to maybe see a few games, and we saw Call of Duty Ghosts, and that did not meet my expectations at all.
I wasn't really expecting much of anything to begin with. I only really heard about it as it was going live, and pretty much started watching because I heard it was a train wreck. So it met those expectations.
What was the most interesting new feature in the Xbox One? Why?
The fact that you can say, Xbox, go home, you're drunk, and it would work.
This is really sad. The only thing that actually made me think, oh, that's kind of cool, is putting rumble in the triggers. It's horribly gimmicky. It's completely useless. I never thought, oh, why don't I put rumble in the triggers before? But now that I see it, kind of a cool concept.
Well, the controller is nice, even though it's just a 360 controller with some extra buttons.
There were a lot of really interesting features on the new Xbox One. A lot of these features are things that I think might do better on, say, an Apple TV or some other TV device that would cost maybe $100 or so. Maybe it could go on a DVR or something. These features include quick swapping between inputs, which is a really interesting idea. It includes fantasy updates to your fantasy sports, which is interesting to people who like fantasy sports. And it includes snapping, which is an interesting thing from Windows 8 that was brought over into the Xbox One. You can pin, say, Skype up next to the game. You can have a live chat with your friend using just your Xbox.
Well, it has a lot of features. Problem is, I don't think a lot of those features are going to work outside the USA. I guess I'm just going to have to go with the hardware. It's basically almost on par with computers today. Not even that. But I guess for consoles, it's an improvement.
Number 4. What was the least interesting new feature of the Xbox One? Why?
Sports. Sports.
Where do I start? I've never thought, oh, my TV watching experience sucks. I need a new cable box to try to fix it. I have never said I want Kinect plugged in all the time. I do not want a console that requires me to log in online once a day. I do not want a console that locks in my games to my Xbox Live account. I don't want a console that I have to pay a monthly fee for online. Pretty much hit all of those points.
Actually speaking, most of the features seemed pointless, especially the ability to watch live television, because you weren't able to do that without the Xbox One. Apparently, voice commands might seem like something useful, but I personally don't feel comfortable yelling at my TV when all it takes for me is to just push some buttons. Also, I think mute people still exist. I'm still not impressed by the Kinect. I know that it is important to find innovative and different ways to enjoy your games, but it looks like the Xbox One feels like it's too good to be just a gaming console. It wants to be all these things at once. I'm not sure if Microsoft thinks this is all a good idea or if they just feel insecure and are just trying out everything to appeal to at least someone. Also, the name is pretty lame. They should feel ashamed.
The least interesting feature for me was the ability to watch TV on the console. I really don't think that belongs on a gaming console. As I said, I believe that it belongs on, say, Apple TV or DVR or, on an actual television. A lot of these new features that are so interesting are interesting solely because they're interesting, not because they should be on a gaming console. Because I believe that Xbox One went overboard with some features that don't belong on a gaming console.
Probably just all that TV stuff, because as I said, it's probably not going to work where I am from.
Have you heard the rumor about the Xbox One requiring an always online connection to play games? What is your opinion on this?
The rumors, I honestly hope they're true and not true at the same time, because if it's true, people are going to see how bad of an idea it is. But if it isn't true, that at least gives it a little bit of credibility to being a good console.
Yes, I have. It's stupid. There's no reason for it. They're literally trying to cut GameStop out of what is 30% of GameStop sales. If GameStop gets pissed, they lose probably 1/3 of the video game sales market right there. It's stupid on all ends. I can't see why they feel the need to do that.
Well, we've seen how that worked out in the past. Honestly, that's not a good idea, and I'm glad that this has been proved to be just a rumor.
Obviously, I've heard these rumors. I'd like to clarify a little bit what I've heard since writing these questions. When the rumor came out that you needed an always online connection, that wasn't exactly verified. The current thing that we've heard is that you're going to require possibly a daily connection. That doesn't mean that if you can't connect to the internet that it will shut off your single-player games. You'd still be able to use, say, Final Fantasy 13 or something if it were on the Xbox One, obviously. I personally really dislike this. I kind of understand what they're going for to help cut down on piracy. The Xbox 360 had an awful lot of problems with hacking and with piracy. And I understand that they want to cut down on these things. I think they're going overboard with requiring connections to play, say, cloud-synced games and that kind of thing. I'd much rather be able to have an opportunity to play these games offline.
Yep. I've heard that rumor alright, and I've heard that it's requires a connection every at least once every 24 hours in order to operate, otherwise it just doesn't work. That is just so stupid. So stupid. Not everywhere in the world has a reliable internet connection. In fact, I'm fairly sure that the amount of people that purchase the Xbox 360 vastly outnumber the amount of Xbox Live subscribers. So I'd say that there's a lot of people who actually don't use online features on the Xbox 360 and wouldn't use it on the Xbox One if they could. But apparently, you need an internet connection. So if you didn't want to use it without the internet, if you just wanted to play single-player games or play multiplayer locally, well, you're fucked, you still need internet.
Have you heard the rumor about Xbox One requiring a different code for each game, which makes it more difficult to sell used games? What is your opinion on this?
Well, seeing as the unique code thing means even if you try to play it on another console, you're going to have to pay to play it, that's going to remove the used game market, and that's going to be terrible because I know dozens and dozens of people who will trade games with friends because, hey, try this game out, you might like it. Okay.
I like developers getting money for my games. I don't like Microsoft getting money for them, which is what this is going to lead to. I bet probably it'll take the normal 30-70 cut for used game sales on this, which means Microsoft will get money for it. Doesn't all go to developers. Again, I like my developers getting money, but I don't like this implementation at all. I think it's stupid. I think it goes against it's completely anti-consumer. Literally nothing good's going to come of it.
I'm really confused about this one. Is this some anti-piracy measure gone horribly wrong? Would refunds still be possible? I heard the code would only work once, so would it make the game useless once the owner decided to sell it? Would you still be able to rent games? And apparently it's not even compatible with 360 games? They expect you to either completely go for Xbox One, or that you will own both consoles. Well, it seems to be quite obvious what Microsoft is really after.
Again, I'd like to make a little clarification on the next question as well, the rumor about the codes for each game. What this means is when you purchase a game, you're going to have a unique code that's associated with that game that will link it to your console. This is already in effect with Xbox 360's downloadable content. You can only have this DLC on one console or one account, and you have to have either the console or the account available in front of you in order to play this content. For instance, if I'm playing Rock Band 3 with my friends in their house, I'd have to log into my account in order to play the songs that I've purchased. The trick is that they're now applying this to games, not just downloadable content. I understand when you're dealing with software as opposed to having an actual game that you might want to have some sort of protection like this. If I'm going to my friend's house and I want to play the latest Tales game with them, I'm not going to want to have to enter in a little code to do that, and I don't really want to log out of their Xbox in order to log into mine so that I can play a game. The other side of this, of course, is the used game sales. If we have to pay for a code on top of a new game, that's going to deter the used game market significantly. That's what Microsoft is going for. They don't like the used game market because they don't get any money from the purchases of a used game. They only get money from new games. The used game market is important, however, in that it drives down the cost of the new game. Over time, the used game is going to sell for, say, $12 or something, and that's going to bring down the cost of the new game, because who's going to buy a new game when you can get a used one, lightly used, for only $12? You're not going to spend $50 for that. Now, if this code was only, say, $5, that would make sense. There are a bunch of games, Mass Effect 3 for instance, that require a code for online activity. If you wanted to play with friends, you need a unique code in order to get online, to access the servers, and so on and so forth. This code only costs about $5. It's a pretty reasonable thing. If I bought the game used, I wouldn't mind shelling out an additional $5 so that I can play online with friends if I decide to do so. However, the problem comes in two different ways. Number one, this code that I'm talking about for Mass Effect 3 only affects online things. It doesn't affect being able to play the rest of the game. Number two, I highly doubt that Microsoft is just going to charge $5 for these codes. I'm expecting they're going to be charging either full price or close to full price for a code that allows you to use the game. And that's just not going to be fair. If that's the case, you can bet I probably will not be playing any Xbox One games.
I've heard that the games have to be installed onto the hard drive and that it's linked up to the account. And that if you try to install it onto a machine with a different account, then you have to pay essentially the retail fee of buying the game again. So basically it's all the fun of digital distribution, but you don't own the game. You own the right to play it, and you own the right to install it within those boundaries. Yeah, very, very, very disappointing, because it means you can't buy used games, you can't sell old games, you can't lend games to other people. It's just very selfish move, because the ownership is strictly on the publisher and on Microsoft rather than the consumer. It's not so much that they're selling goods as rather that they're selling a service.
Have you seen the PlayStation 4 reveal? Which console would you rather purchase? Both and neither are also acceptable answers. Why?
I did not see a lot of it, but I saw most of it, and currently I'm leaning towards the PS4 because it just seems to be a better console right now and not a glorified TV remote.
Did I see the PS4 reveal? Yes, I did. I will tell you which one I will purchase. I will, at some point in the future, purchase a Wii U, a PlayStation 4, and maybe a Vita if it picks up Steam. I will not be purchasing an Xbox One at this pace. There are no games I want for it. There probably won't be many games I want for it. There will be almost no games I want that are only for the Xbox One. Pretty much shakes down to, unless they really push for the Japanese market again, which will not happen because it was a total failure with the Xbox 360, I will not be buying an Xbox One.
I did see the reveal of the PlayStation 4. I still think the PS3 is a good enough console, but if they wanna make a new one already, I can stop them. I probably won't buy any of them, but if I had to choose, I would go for the PS4. It just knows what it wants to be. A gaming console, and an improved PS3.
I did see the PlayStation 4 reveal. The PlayStation 4 had a lot of interesting content dealing with the actual games that it had, and a few new features. Out of those two consoles, I think I'm much more likely to purchase a PlayStation 4, and just like with this generation, I probably won't purchase one for several years. If you add in the Wii U, that's probably the console of the three that I'd most likely purchase, because there seems to be a small library, at least, of decent games. And of course, I have some loyalty to the Nintendo franchise.
Did you see the PlayStation 4 reveal? No. At the moment, I'd have to see what games end up coming out for it. Whichever console I do end up buying, it probably won't be either of them on release. And the way things are going, I'll probably be getting a Wii U out of the next generation consoles. Because a bunch of first-party games are going to come out for the Wii U soon enough, whereas the Xbox One doesn't have a lot going on outside of television, sports, Call of Duty. And the PlayStation 4, I really have no idea what's coming out for that.
Now that you've seen the presentation, are you more or less excited about the Xbox than before? Why?
To be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to it, but now I kind of am, because I just want to see how bad it flops. And I think that will be hilarious.
I am less excited. I was hoping for something really good, something that would push Sony. We got less powerful hardware, slightly odd design. If you really want to look into that, go into Onintech. The PS4 has DDR5 memory. The Xbox 360 has DDR3 with some small, very fast cache to try to offset some of the difference, which it might work depending on how they architecture the system. If they architecture it wrong, it could be much less powerful. They showed off features I don't care about. Honestly, I think it's incredibly stupid. There's nothing good about the system in my opinion. The 360 made its living on online games. I don't really play them outside of Persona 4 Arena, but considering it's not backwards compatible, there's really nothing good about the Xbox that I would take over something else. So,
After the presentation, I'm still surprised they're making it. Hopefully they rethink some of their decisions. As it is now, I'm less excited and more disturbed by the Xbox One. The name is still lame though.
I'm significantly less excited. I think that it's going to be terrible. I'm really hoping that they do have the use game code requirement, because I think it's going to cause so much backlash that the community is going to absolutely explode from this. And then Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo will all realize that it's a terrible idea and nobody wants it. If that happens, I'll be happy. Microsoft is going to take a beating in this.
I'm less, because the features are terrible, and all the new information that I keep hearing about it doesn't do it any better. So yeah, not excited at all. Probably won't buy one. GG.
There's another thing I wanted to add on to the end here. The day of Microsoft's Xbox One presentation, the stock market's changed a little bit. If you follow Microsoft stock, it stayed pretty steady throughout the entire presentation. If you followed Sony's stock, as soon as the presentation started, it jumped about 10%. Literally 10%. If you watch GameStop's stock, it plummeted with this news. That goes to show you how some of this news will affect different companies. Sony, obviously, is happy about this news. They're going to be selling more consoles if these rumors are true, and of course the presentation did not really show Xbox One in the greatest light as far as gaming is concerned. GameStop, on the other hand, selling used games is a large percentage of their income. They need this rumor about the unique codes to not be true. I hope you enjoyed this little segment. I'm doing this partially so that I get a few more views from various people, so if you feel like sharing this, go right ahead. If you'd like to be involved, let me know. I have a link to the Google Doc where I had all of these questions listed. I'll use the same Google Doc for the next segment as well, so if you keep following it, you'll notice when I update it for the next time. If you want to be on the show, send me a message and we can figure things out. Also, I would like to hear your response. Please record yourself and leave a video response to any of these questions here. Let me know what you would like to have us talk about in the next segment.